Former CIA Director Bob Gates adding his name to that letter overnight. That makes nearly every former CIA director and deputy director, Democrats and Republicans, now signing on to what amounts to a blistering rebuke of the president's decision to yank John Brennan's security clearance. They write, among other things, you don't have to agree with what Brennan says, and again, not all of us do, to agree with his right to say it. To be clear, the White House has not shown any evidence that Brennan, a strong critic of the president, is a threat to national security, fueling their fierce complaint that it's an act of political vengeance. Overnight, 12 former senior intelligence officials releasing a joint statement blasting President Trump for revoking former CIA Director John Brennan's security clearance, calling it ill-considered and unprecedented. The former officials telling the president that his actions against Brennan have nothing to do with who should and should not hold security clearances, and everything to do with an attempt to stifle free speech. It comes after Brennan fired back in the New York Times, accusing the president of trying to silence others who might dare to challenge him, arguing Mr. Trump's claims of no collusion are, in a word, hogwash. Brennan now getting backup from the commander of the Osama bin Laden raid, Navy Admiral William McRaven, in a Washington Post op-ed, defending Brennan as a man of unparalleled integrity, saying, I would consider it an honor if you would revoke my security clearance as well.
Is it appropriate for you to punish your critics?
The president ignoring questions about his decision Thursday afternoon. Meanwhile, in another presidential firestorm, there are new clips revealing part of a conversation between Omarosa Manigault Newman and the president's daughter-in-law, Eric Trump's wife, Laura, a campaign aide, offering Manigault Newman a lucrative job on the Trump campaign 3 days after she was fired by the White House.
We were talking about like $15K a month.
A job Manigault Newman says had no real responsibilities.
Sometimes, come to New York for occasional meetings, but I would love if you could, occasionally go do speaking engagements and that sort of thing for us.
Laura Trump also referring to a New York Times article published a day earlier that includes comments by Manigault Newman indicating that as the only African-American woman working in the White House, she'd seen things that upset her and had a story to tell.
Sounds a little like, obviously, that there's something you got in the back pocket to pull out. Clearly, if you come on board the campaign, we can't have, we gotta keep everything.
God, no.
Everybody's positive, right?
NBC News has listened to the full tape of the conversation and has confirmed the clips are in context.
She made it very clear that if I joined this campaign, that I would have to be quiet. I saw this as an attempt to buy my silence, to censor me. Trump train!
Laura Trump insisting those discussions about a campaign job took place in numerous phone calls over the course of several weeks, calling Manigault Newman's actions a betrayal by a woman the Trump family had welcomed as a trusted friend and confidant. Adding, I hope it's all worth it for you, Omarosa, because some things you just can't put a price on.
You all know him as the president. I know him as a friend.
The president retweeting a video of his former aide previously praising him, writing, thanks for the kind words, Omarosa.
And Peter, we hear there's an update on another note. President Trump was talking about a military parade.
Yeah, Hoda, that's right. That controversial military parade ordered by the president, originally scheduled for this Veterans Day, will be delayed until at least 2019. That's according to the Pentagon. They didn't give a reason for the abrupt change. The White House reached out again this morning, is not commenting. You remember President Trump asked for this parade after reveling in the French Bastille Day celebration last summer. The announcement came just hours after CNBC reported the estimated cost has soared to $92 million. That is way above initial estimates. The American Legion, by the way, the nation's largest wartime veterans group, weighing in overnight, arguing the parade money would be much better spent caring for veterans and their families. Hoda and Craig.
All right, Peter Alexander at the White House. Peter, thank you.
Hello, Today fans. Thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking that button down there and click on any of the videos over here to watch the latest interviews, show highlights, and digital exclusives.